After completing my drawing, I shrink it down to an appropriate size using my printer. Then I move the image to tracing paper in preparation for transfer of the image onto the blade. I transfer my artwork onto the blade by tracing over the opposite side of the image, forcing the graphite pencil onto the white painted blade. With my artwork clearly transferred to both sides of the blade, I'm now ready to begin the first step of the etching process. I will start by removing the paint or the resist from all of the background around the artwork. I scratch away the paint surrounding the artwork using a series of fine needles. This is a painstakingly slow process, which can take hours for each step in the etching process. You will note the intermittent use of a quality eraser. This is used to remove any paint residue left behind after I complete scratching away the majority of the paint. Now that I've removed all of the resist from the background of the image, I'm now ready to place the blade in its first acid bath of ferric chloride. As I prepare for the second etching cycle by removing all of the paint from the inside of the Leviathan's mouth, you will note that during the first etching process, a small amount of steel has been eaten away by the ferric chloride from all of the background on the blade. After completing the second ferric chloride bath, I'm now removing the resist from the fins of the Leviathan, as this is the next farthest back portion of the image. After the third ferric chloride bath, a small amount of steel has now been eaten away from the background 3 individual times, 2 times from the inside of the mouth, and just a single removal from the fins of the Leviathan. This begins to create the three-dimensional look that you will see in the finished product. Preparation for the fourth etch involves removal of a large amount of paint from the tongue of the Leviathan, from putting the scales into the merman, removing the tail fins of the merman, and then removing all of the body of the Leviathan, save the spikes, which I want to show up sticking above the back of the Leviathan. Preparation for the fifth etch involves removing the paint from the body of the merman and beginning to flush out the details in the face of the Leviathan. A couple of final etches will be completed as I remove all of the remaining resist from the artwork. Here's a look at the completed artwork portion of the blade after I have sanded and darkened the image off camera. It is now time to assemble the remainder of the blade using 4 pieces that I carved from solid brass and a handle which I carved from quilted sapele. You will note that I use steel lineup pins in the handle construction. This assures that each piece of the handle aligns in exactly the same way each time I disassemble and assemble the blade. The wooden handle fits onto the tang very snug. This is because after I hollowed out portions of the handle, I bedded it with epoxy so that it would fit perfectly around the tang. Note the nut that I am placing onto the tang that I previously threaded off camera. This nut will secure the guard, the riser, and the handle very firmly so it does not move in any way. The neck spacer I also tapped so that it will screw onto the threaded tang. Notice that I've hollowed out a portion of the inner dome so it covers the nut that was previously applied. 2 very small holes in the top of this piece allow me to tighten it securely using 2 1/16" drill bits. Finally, I attached the pommel, which has also been tapped to fit onto the threaded tang. Here's a quick look at the finished product. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching.